What's an unwritten rule in your household that would seem bizarre to outsiders? Story 1. If someone is voluntarily doing a chore, no one shall tell them how to do it differently unless damage is going to be incurred. If unsolicited advice is given without the intent to actively roll up sleeves and help, the task then belongs to the giver of the unsolicited advice. Story 2. The loud noise and I'm okay rules. If you know you're going to make a loud noise, say dropping a heavy bag down the stairs, you had to yell loud noise to warn everyone that the noise was coming and planned. If you made a loud noise unplanned, you had to yell I'm okay so no one came running or did come running. You were not okay. Side note, this rule was created when Grandpa dropped a toilet on his finger. Story 3. Have you found the body? My sister, mother, grandmother, aunt, and myself are avid readers. Our guilty pleasure are detective novels. We often get them gifted by each other and others, buy them and trade them among ourselves. The body rule, any detective book started by any one of us, is free game if the reader has not yet gotten to the part where a body is found. So if I am visiting my mom and she has a new book started, I ask if she has found the body yet. If not, I can also start reading it. And if I get to the body first, I have the priority now and can take the book home. We have polished off the rules during the years. Reading can't take priority over things that need to be done. We catch up, eat, help with chores, etc. You can only read if you're free, waiting for someone, etc. You can't hide the book. It needs to be accessible for everyone. You can't take the book from someone who is reading just because you had it first. You need a legit excuse to distract the person. You can't take it with you to the bathroom. Missing people don't count. Encountered body parts don't count if the victim has a chance of survival. Leg, no body, head counts as body. Depiction of the murder doesn't count until the body is found by someone else. Absolutely no spoilers at any time. Story 4. Kids not allowed to bring any books with anthropomorphic characters into the house. We could play with Legos for hours, but we're banned from bringing a Richard Scarry Big Adventure book or any material with talking animals or animals wearing clothes. The mom didn't want her children growing up thinking that cats and dogs wore sweaters. I hated that house. Story 5. If an item in the kitchen has not been opened, you may not open that item. Only the person who purchased the milk, Oreos, pasta, cheese, and C may open the item. So ingrained to us as adults, I am immediately alarmed seeing someone open things they did not purchase. And born out of years of my folks carefully crafting grocery lists and planning meals only to find the chips for nachos night have long since gone stale. The cream for potato soup is gone, and our lasagna will be mozzarella-less courtesy of the No Mercy children's snacks. Edit to add, once an item has been opened, it is now deemed to have served its purpose and is fair game to all. Story 6. The dinner table dumb joke of the day rule. When I was a child, my father would tell a dumb joke at dinner every night. It was probably one of my best memories from an otherwise plain vanilla WASP suburbs childhood. I did the same with my kids. Then when the internet was becoming more of a popular resource, I tasked each of my kids to take turns bringing a really dumb joke. It truly made dinner fun because jokes are like potato chips. You can't have just one. And dumb jokes are frequently very funny in their own unique way. Now, many decades later, these jokes have become a highlight of family gatherings, as my adult children recall their favorites from the past 35 years. They too do it with their kids. They also still text me stupid jokes when they find them. It keeps them in touch in a nice way. Goofy, but it really worked well in a huge way for us. Story 7. There's a bathroom only my grandma uses. You ask which bathroom is the guest bathroom every time she moves. If she hasn't moved and you've forgotten which bathroom is the guest bathroom, you're expected to ask for a reminder. People have been banned from her house over it. There's never been anything worth stealing before, so we don't know what she expects. Story 8. If one of the toddlers asks for Knuckles, fist bump, you give Knuckles. We rinse sauces, dips off of the plate before setting it in the sink. If you see something on the floor, pick it up and throw it away or put it where it goes. Mom, me, will not go into the children's bedrooms to retrieve laundry. If you are big enough to dress yourself, you are big enough to make sure it goes into the hamper. If it is not in the hamper before bed, it will not get washed that day. Story 9. When I was a kid, we had the Bernie rule. Whoever had the worst manners at dinner was Bernie, short for St. Bernard like the big messy dog, and had to do the dishes. One time my brother farted at the table, and my dad proclaimed, "You are Bernie. Nobody can take that from you tonight." So I decided to test that proclamation. I proceeded to put my feet on the table, and that night I learned that there could actually be two Bernies, and we both had to clean the kitchen. Story 10. Everyone at home must instantly drop what they are doing and run to the kitchen when groceries arrive. One person to help empty the car, and everyone else starts putting stuff away. A text will be sent when the driver is close to home. All hands on deck. Story 11. Principle of bus pants. If your clothes, pants or top, have touched something from the outside world, may it be seats of public transportation, seats of a restaurant, waiting rooms, whatever, you are not allowed to wear them at home. You must change to your couch pants, that is homeware, to be allowed to sit on the couch. Of course, this only applies to household members, so guests are excluded by this rule. And take your fucking shoes off before entering our home, LOL. This applies to everyone. Absolutely no exceptions. Story 12. The house must be aired out every day, even in the dead of winter. My mom would always ask us to open our bedroom windows during the day. We'd then close them in the evening to heat the house if it was cold. But during the day, windows open, and often the ranch slider in the lounge as well. I still do it now when I live in my own little place. My kitchen and bathroom windows are always partially open, even overnight, and my bedroom ones get open during the day and closed at night so I can run the heat pump. Story 13. My mother lives with me, my daughter lives with me, and I are all avid readers. Money has always been tight, reasons I won't go into, so I was a budget down to the nickel kind of budgeter. But buying books didn't count as taking up budgeted money. Books could always be bought, usually with a trip to the used bookstore or Goodwill, but money was always found for books. No censorship of any kind. You read what you wanted to read. Now there is a service called Book Bundler. It's a mystery what you get. You pick by genre. We love when these boxes show up. It's as exciting as Christmas morning. Story 14. Accept the fact that I will rearrange all of my little trinkets without warning, usually when I am extremely anxious. Do not question me. Do not expect any room to look the same. Decorative pillows will be moved constantly. When we get to mid-September, those fake pumpkins go on a journey throughout my apartment that would make Magellan take a seat. Story 15. My mom had the rule that if you look at the bill at a restaurant, you pay. Found out later she only did that because she didn't think it was appropriate for the kids to see essentially what they cost to their parents. We'd get more drinks and desserts than our parents. But I do think to this day, it's an appropriate rule. Either we've all agreed to split it, and we can all look no problem, or I took you out and it's rude for you to try to look at the price. Don't worry about it. Story 16. My kids developed a safe word system when they were really young. They used it for tickle fights and wrestling as a way to mean, for real stop. I need a break. They chose the word tiger and have been doing it for so long that it is part of their vocabulary. It has occasionally created confusion when friends did not know why they were shouting tiger at each other. Story 17. Give the cat a couple treats when you're going to bed. The alternative is to have him plop on the bed and get comfy before you figure out what position is comfy for you that night. Edit. Also, the trash can rule. If you throw out anything that smells like meat, but it's too late to take the trash out, the trash must be locked in the laundry room until you take the trash out in the morning. Otherwise, Ezel will knock it over to eat the meat-scented trash. Story 18. Throwing smallish household items across the room to each other is normal and not at all physically threatening in any way to my immediate family. We don't do it with anything fragile, and it's always an underhand toss meant to land about at the chest. Could be stomach level if inaccurate. Remote, phone, keys, non-ceramic dishware, small tchotchkes. Got used to this as a kid. Now I apparently have surprisingly good reflexes to flying projectiles to my friends until they meet my parents. Story 19. No running upstairs if my dad was in his office below. Footsteps and noise upstairs were not allowed. It was Xmas Eve and we were under 10 years old, excited and playing, and he screamed at us and sent us to our rooms. Do not under any circumstances bump my dad's legs under the table by accident, or he would reprimand you, yell at you. Do not ever run the water when someone is in the shower because that would make the shower water scalding hot. Everyone always forgot with me. You also had to scream down the stairs you were getting in the shower so everyone knew. Again, everyone seemed to not know to not run the water or flush toilet when I was in shower. Do not greet dad at the door to say hello. You will overwhelm him and you need to stay away until he is ready to interact. Do not spill anything at the table ever. Drinks were to be handled very carefully as not to spill. Same applied to restaurants. It was very stressful when drinking from a glass because you worried you would spill or accidents bump your glass over. Once in bed, you were to lie still and needed to be asleep when my parents came up the stairs. No walking down our street without a parent present ever. There must be a guard dog present at night when my dad worked, or someone may break in and try to kill us. You need to remember at 13 years old you will turn crazy and hate mom, so you better enjoy your childhood before age 13. Do not hold small dogs in your arms because just like babies are easy to drop, so are little dogs. No more deli-bought sandwiches because they are too costly. Do not walk slow in front of dad, or you will be shoved forward by him to walk faster. He would remind you with a stern move, go. Story 20. Probably when my BF announces that he's about to do a chore, or straight up asks if I can supervise check up on him doing it. He has health issues that are currently affecting him severely cognitively, so him trying to help with anything usually ends up with me having double the work to fix it before redoing it. He really wants to pull his weight, but he does realize to an extent that it creates more work for me. So he basically asks for permission, which sounds so bad but works for us. I always encourage him and keep an eye on things. I'll only step in if he's about to break or ruin something, and when he's done, I always say I'm grateful for him, and he did well, etc. Even if he didn't technically, but I prefer this over him giving up on himself. There are things like the washing machine or dishwasher that are off limits. I have my own limitations, so I'm not that great at housework myself, but this works best until everything gets approved and someone gets paid to help us. Story 21. Kids do all chores. Parents cook. It's how I was raised, and it's how I raised my kids. I'm divorced, and the kids are grown, so I don't have my live-in help anymore. Other people seem to think this is weird, but since I was raised this way, it's totally normal to me. Plus, it's not like vacuuming the living room and emptying dishwashers is slave labor or anything. I'll live with myself. Story 22. No visitors. Our friends and family are not welcome. They've either showed their asses or stubbornly refused invitations to our home before we married to protest living in sin, so they're not welcome at all. If you want X item done your way, do it yourself. No half-assed cleaning. We don't dip rinse dishes, for example. You rinse that shit off normally. Nobody wants to eat diluted soap. You'd be surprised how many people dip rinse. Story 23. I guess our unwritten rule is that there can't be more than 2 semi-loud sources of noise in the room at a time. So if you want to play a noisy video game and I'm watching my videos, there can't be a third thing added or the noise is going to hit me like a freight train and I could lose my ability to function. So if too many people are making noise in the living room, somebody needs to go into another room or put headphones on or something. Story 24. It's the cat's house too. Do not disrespect her. I've taken it upon myself to offer her a safe place for her to grow, live, eat, and be at peace. If you have a problem with her, then you have a problem with me. I had surgery and 2 home healthcare people showed up and were visibly bothered by her on my bed. As she was guarding me, not in a mean way, she just shrimped on the bed between us. They were not invited back and I canceled all home health aides and PT. PT said he'd help me out by climbing stairs. I did that shit thrice over. I'm fine. I let them know prior to visit, there is a cat. She is social. All my friends know this, and even the ones allergic love her. So unwritten rule, the cat will shrimp you, respect her shrimping. Story 25. When on a road trip, the first person to spot an animal yells out the name of the animal. Then all of the other people in the car have to yell out the animal noise. So if you see a horse, you yell out horse, and everyone else has to yell neigh. It adds some humor to the monotony of long road trips when passing through rural areas. We get excited when spotting something that isn't a cow, pig, or horse. Story 26. At birthday parties, we always let our kids open their gifts as the guests arrive. This allowed each gift to be personally received and an individual thank you. It also allowed for fun new games and toys to be enjoyed right away with the gift givers present so they could share in the excitement. Conversely, it avoided that big hoarding pile, causing undue jealousy. It also avoided any awkward moments during the big reveal from overly expensive or seemingly inexpensive gifts, as they weren't revealed in a game show style, where comparisons could be made, mostly by parents, but hey, this seems to have carried over to their adulthood, 25 and 31 now, as we don't follow traditional gifting guidelines. Rarely are gifts wrapped these days and usually given on the spot, sometimes not exactly on the day. We'll have little celebrations for sure, but they aren't gift-focused because that feels like a separate thing. Story 27. I know I'm late to the game, but my wife and I don't talk while driving in parking lots anymore. We get along great and have an awesome relationship, but we discovered we both become unhinged while driving in parking lots. Either her or I giving the other advice while the other is driving, and we both get super flustered, which leads to an inevitable argument, which is weird because we're both pretty chill and open to advice with driving or pointing out things. So now anytime we enter a parking lot, either one or both of us will say or acknowledge no talking. Let's get through this. Story 28. Please take off your shoes and leave them on the porch. No exceptions unless you are going in the basement. Then it's mandatory that you wear hard-soled shoes of some type. My basement is very, very old and there are all types of things on the floor. Use the plastic cups on top of the water cooler if you want water. There's a pen to label it in the green picnic stuff holder. Use that to mark your name, and that's yours for the day. Do not use the glasses in the cabinet if all you want is water. Story 29. Being part of an Indian household, washing hands and feet after coming home from outside was a must before we went to any other rooms. Yes, we don't tour the home with any footwear. Barefoot is a green flag. It was something imbibed by my now late mother for superstitious reasons initially. I just grew up to also acknowledge the hygienic aspect of it, and I simply can't get myself to go anywhere unless these two activities are done. Always have a mental feeling of dust, dirt on feet once I come home. Story 30. If you're responsible for the mess, you clean it up, even if it's not directly your mess. Like if you have a friend over, and the friend forgets a piece of trash on the counter, it's your responsibility to throw it away, even though it'd take 0.2 seconds for anyone else passing by to throw it away. If you get groceries, even if it's for the entire house, it's your job to put them all away unless explicitly asking for help. My roommates and I have kept a very good balance this way. Everyone's mess is their own, and there's no exceptions. That way nobody can fall into the habit of letting someone else clean up for them, and nobody can be blamed for a dirty dish, a messy bathroom, a pet mess, etc. Everyone's mess is their own. Story 31. Whenever you go shopping, no matter how small an item, you must come home and announce to the household that you have returned from shopping and then show everyone what you bought. Clothing must be modeled, fruits and vegetable prices commented on, new electronics set up and turned on together. My grandparents grew up on farms on an island, so buying stuff was a big deal, and also things people made needed to be admired and complimented, and it's just something they learned from their families, so we never stopped. Now my own kids and nieces and nephews will come from the shops to show everyone what they got.